Shifting our focus to Sudan now, where the crisis and the chaos that the country has now plunged into is getting deeper and widening by each passing day. On Sunday, fighting continued in different parts of the Sudanese capital of Khartoum, where residents hiding in their homes reported hearing artillery fire. Some of the deadliest battles have raged across Khartoum. There have been lulls in fighting, but never a fully observed ceasefire, despite repeated attempts by international mediators. The Sudan Doctors' Syndicate, which monitors casualties, said that over the past 2 weeks, 425 civilians were killed and 2,091 civilians were left wounded. The Sudanese Health Ministry on Saturday put the overall death toll, including fighters, at 528, with 4,500 others wounded. Tens of thousands of foreign nationals are struggling to leave Sudan as intense fighting continues for more than a second week despite a series of shaky truces. Take a look at this. In Port Sudan, a relative refuge where many have headed in the hopes of leaving the country by sea, thousands of them gathering to try and secure a spot on a departing ship. Many of these are Syrians who came to Sudan in the first place to escape their own country's conflict and try and build a new life. It still remains unclear how many would get out. The travel to Port Sudan itself is complex, involving at least a day's travel across the country's desert region with fuel, water, and transport scarcity and expensive costs. The world powers have been evacuating people from Sudan in complex international operations prompted by an eruption of fighting that has sent thousands of foreigners and many more Sudanese people fleeing their country for safety. But many nationalities have struggled to find ways out of the fray, including some from war-torn Syria, Yemen, and other African countries. Tens of thousands of people have fled across the border from Sudan into neighboring Chad to escape the continued fighting in the country. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, the UNHCR, at least 20,000 people have fled across the border into Chad since the fighting began, and more are expected to arrive over the coming days. People fleeing violence in Sudan have sought passage through Kustul port in Egypt, an area along the two countries' borders. At the Kustul border crossing, ferries have been carrying busloads of Sudanese families to safety. A UNICEF official in Sudan warned on Sunday that over 6 lakh children were at risk of acute malnutrition as an internal power struggle continues.
Ahead of this crisis, over 15 million people were in need of humanitarian assistance, and that included 8 million children. All the aerial bombardments, the attacks on facilities, the attacks on water infrastructure, the destruction of vital vaccine, that figure is going to go up. Before the crisis, we had 610,000 children who were being treated for severe acute malnutrition. And that means that without that treatment, they would be on the brink of death. Those children are having a very hard time getting that treatment. So we're very concerned about malnutrition rates and the support of those children with severe acute malnutrition.
Meanwhile, India's Operation Kaveri continues to bring Indians back home. A flight carrying another set of 186 passengers touched down in Kochi. Another flight, Indian Air Force's C-130J, carrying the 16th batch of evacuees, landed at Jeddah as part of Operation Kaveri, carrying another 122 passengers earlier. Special care is being provided to the elderly as well. To give you an overall statistics and figures, nearly 3,000 people have now left Sudan under #Operation Kaveri. Well, now the fighting pits the army chief, General Abdel Fattah Burhan, against General Mohammad Hamdan Dagalo, the head of the paramilitary group known as the Rapid Support Forces. Both these generals, both with powerful foreign backing, were allies in October 2021 military coup that halted Sudan's fitful transition to democracy, but they have since turned on each other. That's all the time we have for you in this edition. We're going to continue to bring you all the updates from Operation Kaveri and the chaos and crisis hit nation of Sudan. Lots more coming right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.